Thank you, President Steve. Fellow Rotarians, is there anyone in the room who does not know who David Elliott is? Then I'll give you the 2-page version. We actually have pared down quite a bit. David has had a long, illustrious career in the insurance and financial service industry. That takes care of the first page. Although I will tell you, he started in 1983, and that was with Cooperators Insurance. And in 2016, so fast forward many years, he opened 3 new offices in Exeter, Grand Bend, and South London. Over the years, he's completed the Chartered Insurance Professional, Certified Financial Planner, and Elder Planning Counselor designations. But you really would rather know about his Rotary life, I think. And it's all been in this club, starting in 2007, where he has been involved with membership, fundraising, fellowship, and foundation. In 2012-2013, he became the club's vice president and started planning for the centennial. He formed an anniversary committee made up of past District Governor John Eberhard, as well as club past presidents, to create a blueprint for the celebration. He expanded the committee and eventually had everyone participating. In 2013-2014, he was co-president with Greg Schinkel. In 2014-2015, he was your club president. Of course, that was the centennial year. It was a big year for this club. You celebrated the stories and pictures of the club in a centennial anniversary book. You gave over $200,000 to local and international communities. You celebrated over 100 Paul Harris Fellows with the RI President, Gary Huang. And you held the most wonderful gala evening that we will never forget. That was just 1 year. In 2015, with the assistance of a team from this area and with 3 young professionals, David was instrumental in forming the Satellite Club. And this club fills a gap, a need, between Rotaract, International Student Exchange, Global Scholars, and this club. He continues to champion the club and currently is also a district membership co-chair with past District Governor Diane Chandler, as well as Rotary Global Rewards Chair. In this club, he is the chair of your Rotary Club of London Foundation, and he also is vice chair of the Thames Valley Children's Center. He's been married for 34 years to a woman with a great name, Susan, and has 3 children, their partners, 2 grandchildren, and 1 more on the way in March. Right now, we refer to him as your past president, David Elliott, but he will soon be known as our District Governor Nominee Designate. Please welcome David Elliott.
Thank you, Sue. And when I was getting prepared for today, I was thinking, okay, what's the title going to be today? So you nominated me as a district governor. How much work are you planning on doing? Or is that for me? Anyways, we'll get through this pretty quick. What I wanted to do today was, a number of people have asked me about the process of being a district governor, and they've asked about what does a district governor do, so I made sure I brought all of the past district governors to make sure I didn't miss a spot. But I also want to share with you what my weekend was like, just in case you're not on Facebook. We went out for our annual Christmas tree hunt, and this guy came for the first time, and he made our weekend great. So again, it's a real privilege to be asked to be a district governor, especially of this club. As you can see, we've had 5 previous district governors, and 2 of those district governors went on to be RI directors as well. So I'm really feeling A lot of pressure, but also a great deal of satisfaction. And I didn't notice until I was doing this morning that I guess it's been almost 100, it'll be 100 years when the first one started and the last one is starting as well, so quite neat. I got some good advice, though, from a past district governor, so I thought I would share this prayer since we did skip the prayer earlier. You can just all say that to yourselves, and if I do hear anybody's head hit the table, I know exactly what happened. That goes for you too, Brian. So, according to Wikipedia, there's approximately 500 plus districts in the world that support 34,000 plus clubs. And here in our district, District 6330, we have 57 clubs and 2 satellite clubs in our district. The second satellite club being one in Sarnia. So how do you become a district governor? The past district governor forms a nomination committee. The current district governor requests that club presidents submit nominations of individuals who might want to tie up 3 years of their life. You are then interviewed by a committee, and a selection is now announced to the district leadership, the presidents of the clubs. And then there's a 14-day challenge to be heard. And this is the question I had a lot of people ask me, well, what's the challenge? The challenge is, and it has happened once in our district, that if an individual, a club, or has questions about how that person got in and another person didn't, then they can challenge that. And I said it has been challenged once. One club wanted to know why the other club's nominee didn't get in that time. So it can happen. Unfortunately, or fortunately for me, it didn't happen. And they announced then who the new district governor nominee is going to be. So the responsibilities are pretty clear. The responsibilities of a district governor are to help provide leadership, motivation, and guidance for Rotary clubs to grow and expand and to fulfill the requirements of RI. Really, they act as RI, officers of RI, fostering achievement at the district level through the club's opportunities. So I'm just going to go through what does it really mean for me. So during the next 24 months, prior to taking office, we'll analyze the district's strengths and weaknesses, review the district's organization and club administration framework, attend district meetings and participate in district committees, and select a site for a district conference. And you might see that last one pop up more than once. And then the 12 months prior to taking office, we proceed to set district goals with the presidents, conduct district meetings, including district team training sessions, president-elect training, district assembly, and plan a district conference. During the year of service, the governors are expected to help strengthen the Rotary clubs, organize new clubs, promote membership. I did go through our history book, and I noticed that our very own past district governor, John, in his year had the most new clubs ever started. So I don't know if there's a challenge for me to maybe see if I could outbeat that number. I don't know. Issue a monthly newsletter to each club president and secretary in the district, and support the Rotary Foundation and serve as a district and RI spokesperson when appropriate. And hold a district conference and other district meetings. And then, of course, the process of going through and electing another one at the end. So, when Jim Belton was reading out that he was looking for support at that special meeting, I'm positive he told you about having a district conference in 2021 and how everybody's going to be involved, very similar to what Sue was talking about when we get into that 2021. The district conference is a celebration event that helps the clubs come together and celebrate their successes for the year. And for most of you who have attended one, how many people here have not attended a district conference? Okay. How many here have not attended an international conference? Might want to change that. In addition, it'll be an opportunity for us to bring in special speakers. We can have special events. And the whole idea is we want to make it memorable for everybody that attends. So as we go down this road, when my announcement came out, I think it was less than a day, I got an email saying, I need to talk to you. I've got a great idea for your year. So I was kind of taken back. I was just hoping just to take about 6 months to not have to worry about anything, but when Claire contacted me, I thought, what a great opportunity to talk about it. So I'd like to introduce Claire Sherwin. Claire is a senior partner and founding lawyer of Sherwin and Slythe Barristers and Solicitors, practicing mainly areas of law, primarily of family, estate, and real estate, corporate commercial law, since 1996. He joined the Rotary Club of St. Mary's in 1996 and was a member, past president, and started to get involved with Youth Exchange. In 2006, he got involved in the District Youth Exchange and has served as a conference coordinator, outbound student coordinator, and district chair from 2011 to 2016. And in 2011, he's the Central States Rotary Youth Exchange. And other things he does in his spare time is he's a past chair of the board for the St. Mary's United Church, past chair of the Student Legal Services at the University of Alberta, former board member of the Crime Stoppers of Northern Alberta. Mary and him have 2 children, Grace, who lives in Ontario, Keith, who lives in St. John's, Newfoundland, and they recently became grandparents for the first time and are enjoying their grandson, Lorenzo. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Claire Sherwin.
Thank you, David, and thank you for having me today. Off the top, I will tell you that while I am the District Youth Protection Officer, I'm not going to talk about that today, so no fleeing the room. I went from my involvement with Youth Exchange to becoming the District Youth Protection Officer, and I went from having the best Rotary product in the world to sell to talking about a subject that's much like watching paint drying. However, Don Bork, of course, continues in his role as the chair for Youth Exchange in our district. This is a little different slant, and you may have guessed from what David had said about, the district conference in his year. That's the direction that I'm headed. The first documented exchanges that happened in Youth Exchange with Rotary go all the way back to 1927, when the Rotary Club of Nice, France, initiated exchanges with European students. Exchanges started between clubs in California, USA, and Latin America in 1939. That activity spread across the eastern United States in 1958. But it wasn't until 1972 that the RI Board of Directors agreed to recommend Youth Exchange to clubs worldwide as a worthwhile international activity to promote global peace and understanding. Let's do some quick math. 1972, the program began. 2021, we're going to have our 50th anniversary of the date that RI sanctioned Rotary Youth Exchange. Think of the number of students that have gone out from 6330 and the number of students that we have brought in from across the world to 6330 over the last 50 years. I was just talking to Randy and I said, do you have a list of all of the students that you have done out of this club? And he has a partial list. 2 weeks ago, I was up to Thornbury Clarksburg and I asked the same question. And of course, Thornbury Clarksburg, like my home club, St. Mary's, has been in the program since 1972. Well, since 1972, the Rotary Club of St. Mary's, my little club, has been responsible for 123 exchanges in the exchange program. Kids that we have sent out, people that we have brought in. If you take a look at the number of nations that involves, kids that, again, we have hosted and those that we have, the countries that we have sent them to, we've sent students out to 23 different countries around the world, and we've brought inbound students in from 21 different countries. If you think about 1972, those kids that went on exchange that year are now retired. And they've got kids. And this was my Rotary aha moment. I've had several in Rotary, and I've been blessed to have them all. But it was at a district interview conference several years ago that parents who had brought their daughter to the interview conference stopped me in the lobby, and they noticed my name tag, and they said, "Are you related to Ted Sherwin?" Well, it was my father that started the program in St. Mary's. And they told me the funniest story about how my parents once brought a bunch of exchange students to their house over the weekend for a little bit of a reunion. And this man met his wife in my parents' living room, and a generation later we're sending her daughter on exchange. So the kids that went on exchange in 1972, 3, 4, 5, likely have kids that went on exchange or know the kids that went on exchange. I'm leading up to this gently because you have a lot of work to do with the district conference, and I'm going to complicate that greatly by saying, let's do a homecoming in 2021. Let's throw out the invite across the world, and let's say, come home to 6330. Come back and visit the club that hosted you. Spend a week, and if we get those kids that went out originally, they're likely going to look at their children and maybe their grandchildren and say, do you want to see the high school I went to in Walkerton? Do you want to see how pretty Thornbury is? You can't believe what it's like in Owen Sound. Let's get them back. Let's invite them back. They can go visit their host clubs, and then let's roll them into town on the weekend of the district conference. We have traditionally done a parade of flags as part of the district conference. Can you imagine what that would look like? I talked to a past exchange student of ours who is now living in Nova Scotia, and I said, Lita, this is what we're thinking about doing. I said, I think we could get a couple of hundred people. She shrieked, you're going to get 1,000. And we might. Now, in talking to David, I went, there's an infrastructure that's involved in a district conference. There's a treasurer and a registrar, and there's somebody that plans entertainment. But this seems like it's very far away, and it's not, because 2021 closes in on us. But that's what I'm suggesting. That's what I pitched David on, and I said, you had a great gala. You'd had a super year when you had the centennial presidency, and Sue said you had a conference, a gala to end all galas. Well, folks, you ain't seen nothing yet. So that's what I've got to say. I've started the ball rolling, and I've been collecting names, and I've been saying to clubs when I've gone around to visit them, let's do this homecoming weekend. Can you find the list with all of your students on it? And already there's kind of a groundswell. I can tell you I probably have 150 or 200 students on Facebook, and whenever I talk to one of them, I say, mark off 2021 and start now saving money for the plane ticket because we want you back, just to plant the seeds. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. So really what I wanted to do today was get the kickoff to our district conference. And as Claire says, it seems like a long ways away. It's not that far away because we've got to get a site. We've got to get, what's more important though than the site and the whole thing is, what do we want it to look like? What is our plan? As Claire says, if we include the youth exchange returnees, it might have a higher level of family. And I know from John's experience, he had a come to the fair, which was very much based on family. But we might want to think differently about what that might look like so that we are more open and more including, and even our own families might want to come to it. So we need to get the ball started. And I want you to answer these 4 questions. I'm going to go find some paper because yes, I want the notes because we want to drag this back in. What will your district conference look like? How can we attract more Rotarians? The numbers that we've got. Doug, how many did you have for yours? Remember? About 300. What did you have, Al?
A little less than that.
Yeah. So and yes, Mr. John?
Well, Chairman Don will tell you on Friday night we had over 1,500.
Right.
And on Saturday for the banquet about 750.
Wow. But it has been going less. And I think part of it is that we have to think differently to try to attract more, to get more included, more action. So really want to talk about how can we attract more. And I want us to think about, I know that whole youth exchange thing might be a little bit difficult to get your head around because there's going to be a ton of people. I think we want to do, if we get the theme right, then it's going to be a natural connection. So I think it's doable, and I'm excited about making it part of our celebration. We just need to figure out how to make that happen. And then anything else you want to talk about. From my clock, I think we have about 15 minutes. Would that be correct, President Steve?
It'll take as much time as you need.
Okay, 15 minutes, starting now.
So you have the whole group together, And then you've got your breakouts. So you might have a plenary in the morning and then have breakouts all afternoon, and then you've got a gala dinner.
5 years ago, we had 3 youth exchange kids all come in July to the cottage, all with mom, dad, and the kids.
All of them, my
Oh,
goodness.
20 years. 20 years, 22.
Conferences and could work again.
Well, we had the numbers too, so we ran 4 or 5 continuous for the whole Saturday and Sunday mornings. We had 4 or 5 different
3 breakout rooms.
For a couple is $1,000 flat. Because 200, just posted. Yeah, and the same thing. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The first group of youth exchange students came back with their grandchildren.
Yeah.
Right.
They might know.
I have a couple of ideas from each table. We won't be able to read your entire list, so I'll start over here. Dave Brady, do you have a couple of ideas of what our conference might look like?
I've got a few notes here from our group. First thing was a celebration of youth dinner one night. Second, involve the host families. Third, expand business side of Rotary. Fourth, lower cost options for attendees by using things like homestay for the attendees. Can we find business sponsors to help control the cost, such as a trade show, and involve Satellite Club in the planning?
Perfect. They will have a similar presentation tomorrow. Back in the corner. Who's your speaker there, Don?
I guess I am. One of the potential themes was a river runs through it. We really want to bring back House of Friendship, tying in with the big post-secondary education for university and Fanshawe College. There's a lot of people in the district that would have attended either of those two. Fanshawe Village, Western Fair as possible venues or locations, and really reinforcing, the family Rotary and family events.
And Sandy, are you the spokesperson?
I could read, I think. This is pertaining to John Everhart's year with Don Stevens helping, what they did. It was important to send out letters and give awards to people to have them attend. They had great international speakers. They also partnered with clubs in the States to have the RI president attend. John worked on having a rep from each club, and those non-attending would be very visible. Most of the people felt that they still keep in touch with many of the exchange students and their families. And from my personal experience, people contact the office and come and visit. So I think it's a really viable idea. They also felt that we should put in a bid for an RI rep. There are some excellent speakers, and if we did it early, we would have a better chance of getting someone for an RI.
Perfect. Thank you. And Diane?
Okay, so we were just thinking a neat theme for the whole event could be called Coming Home, or something like that. We could probably look at best practices out in the internet, other organizations that have brought people, like exchange students home or that kind of thing, so to look for how they did it. We could possibly look for some provincial or federal tourism support because it's an international flavor. Maybe we could subsidize some of the travelers' flights back.
Perfect.
Perhaps to attract some younger Rotarians or new Rotarians, we could bring in a big name speaker. Ryan Gosling was thrown out there. And or like a local popular band for one night, just to kind of bring in some other people just to say we're hip. We can maybe look for some exchange students who are now famous and bring them in to be a guest speaker. There's probably somebody out there, right? Perhaps we could have one part of it as an off-site event. The new Dundas Street area should be finished. Maybe we can have some sort of party down there. And polio may be eradicated, and this might also be a great thing to celebrate.
Perfect. Wonderful. And this front table, who? Jim.
We thought the theme might be around homecoming and celebrating youth. And as pointed out, being one of the older members in the club, I think everybody here is the youth. Timing needs to be looked at so that what's appropriate. Format might be similar to the PETS format with the breakouts. So we'll have a plenary session in the morning and have some breakouts in the afternoon. Because some of the times when you go, everybody's meeting in one area and they're talking about ABC. Well, there's people there who really aren't interested in ABC, but they're interested in something else over here. So with the breakouts, it allows you to get the people and make it more interesting for them. And the key, of course, is that it has to be of interest to the people or they're not coming. One thought was inviting past Rotarians and getting them back into the fold. And we should be inviting people from all the area clubs, not just Area 4, but the area around us, to help with the organizing committee.
Perfect. Thank you, Jim. And thank you, everybody. I think, as I said, I wanted to get it started today. We'll probably have more meetings along this as we start to move it along. The site destination will probably come from more of what we want it to look like. Like, what are we planning on doing? Because if you're planning on having 500 people, then you need a site for that. If you're planning on having 1,000, you need a site for that. So we need to think about that, think about weather, think about what we need to do before we worry about getting to the site. But would like to see us getting more details nailed down by the time we hit the end of the spring. One opportunity we've got 2 opportunities coming up, is if you haven't experienced a district conference, I would suggest it's as close as it's going to be for a couple years. It's in beautiful Grand Bend. The opportunity is to go up there for a day, both days, whatever you want, but I know it's going to be a great event, and if you haven't attended, it will help you get some ideas as to what one looks like and what ours might look like. But the one at the bottom is probably the one that I really would like everybody to consider, because you're going to get some really good, great ideas. It's, again, not going to be this close for a while. When was it in Detroit? I guess Detroit would be the closest, or Buffalo, if it ever has been. Has it been Montreal? But I don't think it's going to be as close. So again, I would encourage you to look at the agenda, see if there's an opportunity for you to go and experience the international convention that's going to be held down in Toronto. Come on. Freezing. Again, thank you for your participation today. Thank you, Claire, for coming down, and really appreciate all the hard work that we're all going to put in, and we're going to have some fun with it too. It's not just going to be hard work, but we're going to have a great experience. So thank you very much.